San Diego at Oakland is the other Monday night game. That'll be starting at 10:15 p.m. Mm-hmm. So, everybody who has Phillip Rivers or maybe Bob Meacham.
Ryan Matthews will not be in that lineup.
Okay.
If you had one of the backups, I've already lost his name. If you had the backup, good.
They don't have Ronnie Brown anymore. Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown.
Call.
How'd I forget that? Because that's my fantasy team name. It might be a little off. I might not be able to say it on air. I can, though. My feces is Ronnie and Brown. Just keep it on the scientific term.
That's awesome.
I appreciate that explanation.
You're
also,
welcome.
Oakland obviously, has Darren McFadden. A lot of people are starting him.
I don't like him. I had him a couple years ago. I know he's supposed to be molded into the better player, but I just don't like him. I don't like who he's running behind. I just don't like the Raiders.
Yeah, it's tough to get real excited about anybody on the Raiders, and ever since they had Rich Gannon and stuff. I wasn't playing fantasy at that time.
Sebastian Janikowski.
I like Sebastian Janikowski.
Still on the team.
Who? Sebastian
Janikowski.
Oh, in my opinion, he's the most. In Farrell's opinion too, he's the most valuable fantasy kicker year in, year out.
Without a doubt.
And I got him in my KFF SC league.
Yeah, we'll talk to Farrell a little bit about our team. We talked about him last week about our teams. Obviously, you weren't here. We are excited about our league, though.
Very much so.
We're big fans, guys. Brett, this is your first. All of our first times in this league. This is your first fantasy league in general.
No, I played one last year.
Okay.
It was a basement league, but this is my first quote-unquote professional league. Really excited for the opportunity. I'm in 4 leagues this year. I plan on going 4-0 week 1, just winning all 4 games. I feel bad for the guy that's got to play me today because I feel like I'm just going to dominate him. But there was a lot of good teams in my league, mm-hmm. So it's going to be a fun year. I'm really excited. Prestige Worldwide is going to win it.
Very original, just stealing off a movie line. So you and Kelly have great names so far. Kelly Patrick is my personal
I said
favorite.
Randy Travis was one of my names.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's just casual. Just Randy Travis.
Randy Travis. I find that not only do his actions inspire me, but I now find a lot more value in his actual music. Due to the way he's handled himself over the last year.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yesterday we did have college football, and that's what everybody wants to hear about. They don't care about our fantasy leagues. Kentucky, Louisville, they both won. They both won pretty handily. Brad was in attendance of the Kentucky game. John was here in Louisville at the Louisville game. There's great pictures, video. Brad, did you get video?
I did get video of the Joker Press conference.
It's great.
Still have to upload it. Uploaded it last night, got about 50% of the way through, and then decided to quit on me, so I'll have to do that again. But overall, Kentucky played a lot better offensively. Defensively is still a struggle for them. When
14 points.
14 points, but you have to look a little deeper into that. The defense was out there for 80 plays. That's 11. Kent State had 11 more plays than Kentucky did last night. And also Kent State racked up 409 yards total offense against the Wildcats on defense. That has got to stop. When you're playing against guys like Georgia, when you're playing against teams like Georgia, pick your poison in the SEC. 409 against Kent State may seem a lot. Wait till it's about 800 yards total offense against those big boys that can run the ball and can throw the ball just as well.
I'm not too scared about Georgia. There's something about them. I was just kidding. They blasted Missouri last night. They're going to against Kentucky. It was more on the line of I'm not worried about Missouri. I honestly feel like they're welcome into the SEC and they're going to take their lumps this year. But yeah, the UK game last night, I did get to watch it. I have the old ESPN of 3. Thank you, Xbox Live.
Yeah.
I got to see every game with Kelly. Did you catch any of the game? You don't have Xbox Live.
Of
the UK
game. Kentucky game. I did not.
Okay.
I was actually.
I don't like how we live in Kentucky and you can't watch the Kentucky game. Even same for Louisville. If you live outside of the state, someplace you can't watch the Louisville game. We live in the state. You should at least be able to watch your own game, your own favorite teams, which is a CSS Sports Network. Anyways, 3 it's awful. I hate watching that the footage on there. But I liked obviously Max Smith, MVP of the game. Brad, he threw for what was his exact stats?
He was 30 of 39 completions and attempts for 354 yards and 4 touchdowns. His longest pass was 56 yards, and that was to DeMarcus Sweat. That was Sweat's first career catch actually for 56 yards. And That is promising. He definitely looked very well.
True freshman.
He's a true freshman. He made a very nice cutback move on a defender and just turned on the afterburners and went for 6. So, I mean, a lot of people want to give Joker a harsh time for not getting the good players. Man, I'm telling you, these freshmen that he's got coming in, not only next year but are also playing this year, they're going to be good. They're very good.
Yeah, I was also some guys that aren't freshmen, but they kind of seem like they're freshmen. Aaron Boyd being one of them.
Yeah, how about that?
Aaron Boyd, 11 catches, 100 yards, obviously career highs for him. He came into yesterday's game, Kelly, for almost midway, starting the senior season. Kelly, he has 6 catches for 51 yards.
It's been a huge disappointment because he was a pretty highly touted guy.
Very highly touted, coming out of
somewhere in Lexington, right?
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about it last night with a guy who played against him. I think that is correct. I think it's Henry Clay. He's kind of gone through some issues, maybe, he's kind of grown up, got out of it. Obviously, Joker trusted him, put him in the starting lineup for just the second time ever. Came out and performed. He caught the ball, Brad. It wasn't just, he didn't just put him to stats. He made some good catches and made some catches in traffic. And then also, Gene McCaskill, another senior. He had a great game, a great catch in the end zone, back in the end zone.
That was a nice catch.
One thing I want to ask you since you were there, the crowd, it was probably, around 48?
You know what? I did not get to hear the official attendance, but what I do know is that it was almost empty. And it's very disheartening. You're trying to, a lot of people saying, oh, well, I support Kentucky football. Well, come out and watch the game. It's very disheartening to not only the players, but to the other fans around you. When you see, just empty seats, rows and rows in the upper deck. They made the announcement that last night it was the lowest attendance since they remodeled the Commonwealth Stadium since 1996. So that's very disheartening, to the players.
It was Kent State.
Granted, it was Kent State, but still, I'm not asking for a sellout, but I'm asking to make it look more crowded than what it actually was.
Yeah, it was obviously when the camera did pan out for the people who did not see the game on TV or just maybe had to listen to it. It was empty towards the tops, the student sections and whatnot. It's okay. Game 1, Kent State. The fans, I know you'll come out and start proving. Obviously, when SEC plays starts, you'll definitely be getting out there. On the other realm of things, we'll keep getting into this UK game. We'll break it down throughout the show. My man Kelly over here, your Cards, 2-0 on the season now.
Yeah. Can't be disappointed with a loss at any time, especially, looking over the stats, it looks like, Sonoris Perry had 72 yards rushing, a touchdown. Teddy Bridgewater threw for 344 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions, with a QB rating of 160, about 168.
That's not bad.
Statistically, on paper, it looks like a solid win. The Cards beat Missouri State 35-7, but in person, I kind of was a little, I didn't feel too good about the way that we struggled to run the ball against the Missouri State defensive line that I don't think is that great, but we made them look pretty good. We struggled to run the ball.
You were very oversized with your all's lines compared to theirs lines.
Our offensive line was bigger than their defensive line.
Were just
much bigger than
much
theirs.
Bigger.
Well, it didn't look that way in person to me. It didn't. I don't know if it's that. It looked like we were trying to run to the left side. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but I remember reading some stats from our win over Kentucky that we had a lot of success running to the right over, Jamone Brown and Mario Benavides and the right side of the line. For some reason, Watson or whoever was making the decisions insisted on continually running to the left side, and we just got almost manhandled. Other than a couple long runs late in the game, the Cardinals, to me, look like they struggled running the ball. So, call in 502-384-1450. Maybe you have a different take on it. Maybe you feel real optimistic about the game from yesterday. But going forward, even though North Carolina lost yesterday, I'm very nervous about the Cards' next game.
I was actually going to. I was going to get into that here later, but, since you brought it up already. I watched the North Carolina game. Obviously, it was on ESPN3. I did catch a lot of this. The fourth quarter, Wake Forest. Legitimately, that sounds great, whatever just happened.
That is much better. Thank you, Adam.
That is the intern.
Thank you, Adam.
Adam Taylor just getting it done. He's the number one. Matt's not here today. back to North Carolina. I watched
you
North
watch
Carolina.
some of the Wake Forest North Carolina
I did. North Carolina was letting Wake Forest drive. I know Wake Forest does have a decent quarterback, but they were letting them do whatever they wanted to across this field. And I expect if Wake Forest can do whatever they wanted, Louisville can definitely come out and do what they want. I really don't see North Carolina coming in next week and even making this a 7-10 point game.
You don't see North Carolina hanging with
I
Louisville?
think Louisville just comes in next week ready for this game. They've been hyped it up for maybe a year now, and I don't see. It might be good for a close game maybe for the first half. Then Louisville's going to start pulling away. I don't see them being able to stop Teddy Bridgewater if they could not stop Wake's quarterback. Yeah. Like you said, 384-1450. Call us, talk about it. Louisville game. Charlie Strong after the game, Kelly, he said he was very pleased with his victory today, but it's frustrating that we played hard, but we did not play smart. 9 penalties. We look at. Now I can't hear anything. No. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You
sound good.
It was weird.
You sound great.
Thanks. We had 9 penalties. If you look at last week, our offense ran pretty well, and then this week we sputtered offensively in the first half. We never got in sync and never got into rhythm. So obviously, it is early in the season. You're still trying to get everything together, but I hate to say it, but Louisville's looking like a fine-tuned machine to start the season in the first 2 games, Kelly.
I'm telling you, in person, it did not look that way.
Really?
Statistically,
I guess that was different. It's different on TV. You don't get to see everything.
It looked like we struggled. My brother-in-law and I were sitting there, and we were watching Louisville continually run the ball right at Missouri State's defensive line and just getting stopped in the backfield. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd like to hear our man John Hancock's analysis on that.
Yeah, he was there.
I know, and he's real good at that type of stuff. But my perception of it was obviously Teddy Bridgewater did great. He had a real nice deep completion for 55 yards.
That was a nice pass
to Charles Gaines, and Teddy Bridgewater does look great. He's got a heck of a cannon. Interesting comparison my brother-in-law made, or we made, but we were saying, God, he's so good at scrambling, keeping in mind what he has to do, and then throwing it deep. And we said, who's he similar to? I threw out there maybe a young Dante Culpepper. He said maybe an Eli Manning. Because he's got such a strong arm, and he's so good at scrambling and then maybe throwing it away or just getting the ball off.
I don't see really Eli Manning. I like Dante Culpepper before Eli Manning. Eli Manning is not the most mobile quarterback out there. Teddy Bridgewater, like you said, he's rolling out on boots every 2-3 plays, which in my opinion, it's a great choice for Louisville because if anybody does break that offensive line of Louisville and does put pressure, he's already rolled out of your pocket. He's already hitting people on the run. I hate to say, but I honestly think Louisville could have a chance, Kelly, at running this table. Honestly, your schedule is not good. I'm sorry, it's not good, Brad. It's
84th in the country.
I'm not even going by rankings. I'm not going by rankings. I'm going by what's happening so far this season. Your schedule is not good, and which is okay with you.
I know that. No,
it's okay.
If we get to keep Charlie Strong, I'd prefer that. Our schedule's not good.
I'll say that Cincinnati looked pretty good the other night against.
That's a good point, Brad. They did. They've got a high-powered offense as well.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not. It looked like they're not missing Isaiah Pede too much.
Is that game? Your schedule's right here. How about that? Let's see if that game is on the road. Cincinnati is home, so that's always a positive.
Yeah.
Bringing that, I think, will be your all's toughest game. Brad, do you agree?
I agree.
You saw them play as well.
Munchie Legault, their quarterback, is
Munchie Legault.
I love that name.
That's awesome.
Not as good as Mr. Cobble, though.
No.
But I like to think that Munchie Legault is a dual threat quarterback. He's got a pretty good arm. He showed it off last year when their quarterback, why is his name, Zach Collaros, went down in the West Virginia game. He came in, held his own against the West Virginia team. And I think this year it's Munchie Legault's team, so I think Louisville's going to have to be ready for that game.
Yeah, I totally agree. That and the Rutgers game will probably be their 2 hardest, just because Rutgers is always a tough win on the road. Other than that, Pittsburgh are terrible. They're Pittsburgh. Their whole school's trash right now. With basketball program just putting a big dud on the board last season. But Kelly, like you said, Teddy Bridgewater, 30 for 39, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers again. He didn't throw the ball much early. He didn't really have to. He was just handing it off and watch your running back by committee get out there and just take it to the house. But he was looking great as in quarterback for Kentucky, Max Smith. I think I asked this to Rashawn yesterday during the morning show. He knew where I was going with the route. He knows I'm not saying Max Smith for Heisman this season or next season or even the season after, just depending on what goes down. But him and Teddy Bridgewater could turn out being 2 of the better quarterbacks across the country going head-to-head in the same state.
Huh.
Teddy will be up for Heisman. Yeah. Do you agree? Maybe in a year or two?
He
for
certainly
sure.
appears to me to be a legitimate candidate for it. I would, from an unbiased perspective, like you're coming from more than I am.
Oh, yes.
I can see where you'd say that.
I'm
worried about it.
And Max Smith, he's looking just as good as Teddy. He's throwing Brad, he's already almost thrown 100 times this season in 2 games. He hasn't had one turnover, six touchdowns.
I think there was excuse me. I think there was a stat last night where Morgan Newton in the LSU game had 65 complete passes throughout the entire season. Morgan Newton's already got about 64, even more.
Maxwell Smith does. Okay.
What did I say?
You said that's okay.
Oh,
so through the LSU game last year,
Morgan Newton had 65 completed passes.
And what game of the season was that?
That was sometime
in SEC play, obviously.
In SEC
so
play, obviously.
Game, maybe the season. But so Maxwell Smith is just on a much better pace.
He's progressed a lot better. If you watch games last year, Maxwell Smith was taking sacks. Now he's throwing the ball away. He's checking down to his check down receivers, and he's playing smarter football, and he's driving this offense down the field. And he's got a pretty good supporting cast in Raymond Sanders, Koshik Williams, freshman guys like Dyshawn Mobley.
The younger guys are talented.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But needless to say, I think Maxwell Smith has played a lot better than last year.
Yeah, the offense, Kelly, 530 total yards. Louisville's right up there as well. The offense is, if you're a Kentucky and Louisville fan, you're not mad at all. I know we're up against this break, though, so let's go ahead and get to that. Let's go ahead and get our guest on the line as well. So stick with us, and we'll bring Dave Spelker on the line from Fight Magazine. We can talk about high school football a little bit and what's going on around state. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
You're listening to The Weekend Sports Buzz. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Boyd, Brad Steen, Kelly Patrick's back in the building. Kelly, I'm glad to have you back on here on Sundays. It's lonely without you.
I'm honored to be back.
Good.
I'm glad I'm back.
You have a little mini vacation down in Tennessee.
Yep.
It's good. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. We're going to jump to that real quick before we get Dave on the line. Carolina Steve, what's going on?
Nothing much. Y'all were talking about quarterbacks. I think the best quarterback that I have seen this year is Virginia Tech, as far as young quarterbacks. You talk about being able to run and throw the long ball. He reminds me more of Dante Culpepper than Bridgewater did. This guy is 6'5", 260.
That's a big guy.
That sounds more like Culpepper than Bridgewater. What kind of numbers does he put up, Steve?
He threw 4 yesterday.
Did he?
And last year he came on and did a super job. Last year was his first year start. And he's just done real good at just watching on one of the college football shows. It said he probably has one of the best touches for the long pass of anybody in college football.
Logan Thomas is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thomas, and he is fantastic. And he's the reason that Frank Beamer will have his 9th 10-win season in a row, which is the best in college football.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I saw that stat the other day.
Very interesting stat.
He's one of my favorite coaches and everything. And a lot of upsets yesterday and everything. And a little tired because the race went a little bit longer than I wanted it to last night because of the rain. And congratulations, Tyler. Your guy kept his place in the top 10. He went from 10th to 2nd.
I saw that.
In the standings. So that's going to be good. We got some great stuff coming up. And we could get the guy from Byte Magazine on.
Yep.
Ask him what he thinks about the Charlestown Pirates.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all saw it in the paper this weekend or not, but they beat North Harrison 72-8.
Ooh,
that's kind of high for high school.
Wow.
And they've got 2 players. Their quarterback and their running back are both probably D1 prospects and everything. And I'm looking forward, and you can mark this down on your calendar. When Bibb and Corydon play, if you get a chance, go see it because that's going to be for the 3A playoffs and everything. And this week, I want everybody to listen to Mason and Myers in the morning because me and Rashad are going to go out with a lot of smack talk. He can get the best of me now because of the fact that the Heels lost to the Demon Deacons this weekend.
Yep.
But I've got an interesting statistic for y'all. The score this weekend was Big East 0, ACC 2, and probably one of the top games at the Big East is this week with the South Florida Golden Bulls, directed by Coach Skip Holtz, play Rutgers. And the Golden Bulls had a tough game against Nevada and pulled it out. That wide receiver of theirs had 12 catches, and it was just a fantastic game. Well, y'all have a good day. I really enjoyed talking to y'all. I'll talk to y'all next Saturday, and I'm looking forward for 2 weeks from yesterday when I'll be up at Kentucky and everything. So y'all have a good day.
We appreciate it, Carolina, as always. Come out next Saturday. We'll be downtown at the North Carolina-Louisville game. We'd love to talk to you. Obviously, you're a North Carolina guy. He's going to be giving Rashawn some hell this week, fellas. Seriously, he's going to call in and really get in with Rashawn.
I heard some of that build-up. It should be interesting. I'm scared of North Carolina. They have,
I don't think you should be.
As Carolina Steve pointed out, they've got a few guys on the defensive side of the ball that are projected to be first, second, or third-round picks in the draft. Anytime you have freakish athletes like that, I
will correct my man Carolina. Logan Thomas only had 3 touchdowns. Still a very good game. 2 passing and one rushing. He did have 212 passing yards. So yeah, he's 6'5" is a big quarterback.
6'5", 260.
That's a
How
big
big's
boy.
Max Smith?
Big man.
He's big.
He's 6'5", Brad, if I'm correct as well. Max Smith's a tall guy. Wait. No, I'm thinking of a local player I saw the other day. Sorry, no. Max Smith is not.
He
6'5".
is. No, he is. Max Smith is big. I'll check it out.
What Carolina said, though, while you look at that.
That was a good comparison, I thought, his Dante Culpepper. That guy, 6'5", 260. That's about how big Culpepper at least was in his prime. He may have blown up to 280 when he toward the end of his career. But
let's get to the buzz line because our man is sitting there waiting. Dave Spelker from Byte Magazine. Dave, good Sunday.
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. The voice is a little shot after a weekend of screaming, but hey, that's what it's all about, right?
Oh yeah. Were you cheering for the family, or were you out there just getting on for the schools?
Actually, I was getting it on for the schools. I attended the Trinity Elder game Friday night, and then yesterday went to Danville to watch Center College play.
How was that?
So, it's a blast. What an atmosphere. What a campus. They've got a great team this year. Just a lot of fun. I have a son that played at Center a few years ago, and I have another son that's still attending. So, great to see him and great to take in. They had an evening game, and it was a blast.
That's good stuff. It's always fun. I hear getting out, Kelly, to smaller colleges and environments are always a good place if you've never been there to check out games, which I have not. I might have to do that sometime. Dave, Byte Magazine if I'm correct, they have just released this month's issue of last week or so. I saw our nice little KentuckySports.co ad. It looks great. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you guys.
What's going on in the magazine? Is there any, maybe some good stories in there some people want to go read, or what's in the magazine exactly?
Well, first off, I want to tell Carolina Steve he needs to grab a copy because we did a feature on one of the young men he was just talking about. Aaron Daniel was one of our featured players, quarterback there over at Charleston. And, yeah, he's exactly right. He's going to be playing on Saturday somewhere next year. He's a senior coming back, had awesome stats last year, and Coach Hawkins over there at Charlestown's really high on him and with, every reason to be. He's a fine young man.
Yeah, that's good. Carolina did. He was. Did you see the Charleston game that he was? He mentioned the 78-10, I believe.
I did not, but when he mentioned that score a little bit earlier, I'm like, man, I got to find the paper from the other night and check that out. That's very impressive. No matter who you're playing, when you can put numbers up like that, you're doing something right.
Now, in your opinion, Dave, on that score, is that too high for a high school game? Should they call off the dogs a little bit, or is it more the line of let your team just keep rolling so you don't lose any momentum throughout the season?
That argument has been going on for years and years, and each game has its own flavor. If obviously, if the starters were in at the end, I see that as a problem.
Yeah.
If you've got your second and third and fourth team in there, you can't tell the kids to take a handoff and fall down.
That's a good point.
There is some responsibility of your opponent to, stop you. So, again, unless he just really kept, the top guys in the entire time to run up stats and numbers, that's kind of the nature of sports.
Yep.
I mean, you do hope for some compassion, but, then again, it's, you're not going to have kids just falling down. That's my take anyway.
I'm with you.
Dave, around Louisville, one of the big recent pieces of news was that Will Wolford was named the head coach at St. X. Obviously, he's got a great resume as far as playing and even, broadcasting the Colts games, and very well-respected guy within the football community nationally. Doesn't have any head coaching experience. What's your take on that hire?
When you look at that entire picture, yeah, that's the one thing that makes you scratch your head a little bit. Now, he was with the program a few years, I think, like maybe on the freshman level, but, it's no secret. He was in on the varsity meetings, and I'm sure he shared ideas and, thoughts with them, and he does just bring a whole plethora of experience with him, so I think he'll be fine. The one thing about that kind of puzzled me was the timing. I wondered, well, what's the deal? We're, 3 weeks into the season. They just had come off a tough loss to Bowling Green. I thought, well, why would they do that now? But then I got to thinking, they've got their open house coming up soon, and I'm sure the school wanted to have the new face of St. X football there, when they have all the young fellows coming through, touring the school for next year. So then I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I don't fault them at all for the timing in that.
Now, did St. X
I think he'll be a good fit.
Did St. X have a game this weekend?
They did, and that may have been another reason because, obviously there was a lot of fanfare with the naming,
yes.
And it was a game against Doss. So if there was a week that maybe you could afford to have a little distraction in, the program, it was this week. And, they handled Doss rather easily. It gets very, very tough for the Tigers the next few weeks. They've got Moeller coming in, and then they've got Central, and then they've got Trinity. So, talk about murderer's row.
Yeah,
there.
that's no easy stretch.
Dave, do you foresee Wolford bringing in any high name, or big name, maybe offensive or defensive coordinators? I know he's still keeping his full-time day job, and that's kind of, raised some eyebrows that he's going to have a full-time job and be a head coach of a big high school football program. Do you see him bringing in some big names to help him out?
I do foresee that. I don't have the scoop on anyone yet. When I do, you guys will be the first to know. But, you've got to believe that over the years he has made multiple contacts in the football arena. And I do think he'll have at least some advisors coming in to maybe, come in and pump some juice into the St. X offense. Let's be honest, that's been the criticism over the past several years, that it's been, rather boring style of football, and maybe, some kids don't want to come and play that. So I do think you'll see some supercharging in the Tiger offense.
Dave, can you talk a little bit about the Trinity Elder game? I'm actually from the Cincinnati area, and I know that Elder is a pretty good football team, and I know that Trinity just laid the wood to them. Can you talk a little bit about that game and how well James Quick played?
Sure. James Quick is just amazing, and if you've never seen him play, you owe it to yourself to take in one game this year just to watch probably one of the best high school football players that's ever played in this area. I think he had 3 TD catches the other night, and a lot of that has to do with his quarterback, Travis Wright, who threw 4, I think, all in the first half. Their offense is clicking very well. Their defense still has some work to do. Elder put up 21 points on them and had some success through the air. I think they threw the ball like 40 times against Trinity, again, with, success. So, Elder had the offense to put up points against Trinity, but they just, they couldn't stop them. And I don't know that they need to feel bad about that. I'm really not sure who can, put the clamps down on Trinity this year.
Yeah, Dave, we were, me and my buddies were getting around watching football the weekend, talking to Trinity. A couple of them played them throughout their career, and they're just a talented team across the nation, national champions last year, looking like they could do it again this season. James Quick, he's a very, very quick player, if you want to say that. Also, around the high school area in Louisville, LIT volleyball action's going on. Did it end yesterday, final and today?
It wrapped up yesterday. Congrats to the Assumption Rockets. Coach Ron Cordes and his bunch were the favorite. Let's be honest. I think Assumption's ranked like number 1 or number 2 nationally. So, they would certainly be the favorite going into a Louisville Invitational tournament. But, man, we had a ton of good volleyball teams in this area. I mean, they defeated Sacred Heart in the finals. But, there was Mercy, there was St. Henry, there was Notre Dame, and it was just a great day of volleyball over at the Hall Valley. So that was Assumption's only stumbling block last year, as they lost in the LIT, and obviously they took care of business this year doing that. Did want to mention Tuesday night coming up at Mercy High School, Notre Dame, again, one of those, upper-level volleyball programs, and Mercy are going to be having a pink out. And that's going to be really nice. Jennifer Stark's a friend of Vipe. She's with State Farm. They're sponsoring a mammogram unit, and they're going to have giveaways. And if you want to sign up for cancer walks, certainly that would be a good thing to take in on Tuesday night over at Mercy High School.
Yeah, that was going to be my next going to you. Other than that, Dave, is there anything else coming up maybe in the next couple weeks for people maybe want to go out and check out? Like myself, I've never last 2 weekends ago, the Apple field hockey tournament, something I've heard is a good event to get out to. Obviously, that was 2 weeks ago. What's coming down in the future?
I'll tell you what, we should get out and do a remote or something from one of the Central High School football games. Those guys, I mean, every week they are just becoming more and more impressive. They beat another 6A school this past weekend. They beat Ballard 19-14. And I know in a few weeks they've got that matchup with St. X, and St. X really needs to be careful in this one because Central is very talented. 10 guys back on defense this year from last year's team that was, very good. Mm-hmm. And obviously they found a way to replace Anthony Wales in the backfield because they're putting up points. And, that's my team to watch.
That would be fun. I've never been to a Central football game, and I know they have some very talented players. Dave, before we do let you go, Vite Magazine, you can get it at all the Dick's Sporting Goods and Kroger's in the area, moms and pop shops all around the area. It's getting bigger and bigger. People need to check it out. I think Kelly's got he saw something for you.
Yeah, Will Wolford obviously has a lot of connections in the NFL. He's probably wondering who he could bring in as his offensive or defensive coordinators. I don't know the legitimacy of this, but one of my buddies told me that he heard Tony Dungy may be the offensive coordinator for St. X. What do you think of that?
That might be what it takes to get over that Trinity hump that St. X has had the past season or two. But that would be obviously remarkable for the area. I would be most impressed if that happened. If I was a betting man, I would say probably not. But a big name or a common name certainly wouldn't surprise me. But that'd be something. I tell you what.
I don't know.
Mike would love to talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My buddy may have been. I don't know where he heard it, but we'll see. I mean, that'd be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Must have been a St. X alum of recent and just really wanting to get over the bump. Obviously, Chris Collinsworth, a big-time guy in the football world, is up at Highland. So,
sure, yeah.
You never know. It could happen,
Not out
of
the question. Stranger things have happened. And I know Coach Dungy loves working with young men, and, that would be a great fit in the St. X family. So, again, hey.
Never know.
But never know. You never know. All it takes is a little bit of, hey, I can buy into that. And, a rumor can travel pretty fast.
Well,
Yes.
You guys heard it here first. I don't know if Wolford's listening, but I mean, I just say at least give him a call. Maybe Jim Kelly. I mean, he's got a lot of connections
Mike
out there.
Ditka?
No, I mean anybody he played with. With the Thurman Thomas, maybe. I mean, you never know.
Well, Dave, we appreciate.
Well, one of the
Go
players
ahead.
he did play with was Carwell Gardner from Trinity. So wouldn't that be interesting if he brought a former Trinity player over to help him out? That would be big news too.
Now, are Trinity guys allowed to go to St. X like the St. X guys can go to Trinity, Dave?
I'm sorry, say again?
I was just messing with you, saying, could Trinity guys go to St. X like St. X can go to Trinity? I was referring to yourself.
Yes. Yeah, so see, it messes with the whole karma of the world, but it can happen.
You never know. Well, Dave, we appreciate it. Vite Magazine, Vite Louisville, check it out. It's getting big. Go grab the recent edition. There's one every month. And we'll be talking to Dave every weekend. We appreciate it, Dave.
Outstanding, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Dave Spelker, Vite Magazine. Check it out. It's not just a local magazine. It is nationwide. It is in big-time stores like Dick's, like Kroger, moms and pop shops all over the area. It is good stuff, Kelly. Brad, have you ever picked up a Vite in Northern Kentucky area?
I have not, but I do want to send out a very special thank you to Mr. Dave Spelker for mentioning St. Henry District High School, my alma mater.
Okay.
We are a powerhouse in volleyball, so we know how good Assumption.
You look like you could dig a few balls out.
No, but my sister could. She was
Really?
a very good volleyball player.
Scouting. Brad's recruiting his sister right now.
Yeah,
Getting her out there.
Yeah, she's a free agent out there. If anybody wants to pick her
Sorry,
up.
Brad's a free agent as well, not just in the sports world, but in the whatever world, the love life. So 384-1450, give us a call. Brad's trying to talk to all the pretty women out there. Let's get to this break. Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick, Brad Steve's in the building. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
What is what? Quick segment, then we got Pearl. We can talk about this song.
Dude, that song is
Now back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
There's an old man standing at the corner, and the rain's dripping in his shoes.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Had a great segment there with Dave from Vite Magazine. Got to talk about some neat local high school type stuff. Of significance, the rumor that is apparently just really spreading quickly that Tony Dungy may be brought in as a coordinator with St. X.
I wouldn't spread rumors, Kelly.
I don't know. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. All I'm saying is I've heard.
Now you're going to
a
get
couple credible sources.
Adam's going to get like 30 phone calls from like people around
are you
the
serious?
program. Like, what's this? What? Kelly's joking.
Either Jim Kelly or Tony Dungy will be on this staff. Regardless.
He's pulling your leg.
No, regardless. Moving right along. What are we getting into now, Tyler?
A little bit of quick segment because we are going to lead in top of the hour with our man Farrell Elliott from KFFSC. But first, there was some other games around the area, around the college football world. Top programs. Western went into Bama. They got beat 35-0. Better than I expected.
Which is kind of a moral victory, even though I don't believe in those for Western.
Kind of is, yeah. I guess you got to say to hang with Alabama to be is Western. They're one of the newest members of Division I.
About 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're very much so in their infancy of Division I football. Mm-hmm. They'll get to play Kentucky next week. So I mean, that puts an interesting spin on it. They're supposed
to be the SEC.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
that. Get that court back.
Hey, you got beat, buddy. So you better prepare yourself to come into Commonwealth. We're putting the newly found air raid offense in effect, which I am a big fan of. 384-1450 if you all want to call in and talk about their air raid. The Cardinals' lack of really nothing right now, in my opinion. They're looking strong besides maybe some issues up front. Right, Kelly? Maybe some issues up front?
I think so. The stats say otherwise, but,
I'm not the biggest stat man at certain things early in the season, 2 games especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously Louisville's fine. Maybe a little problem up front, allowing the smaller Missouri State getting in there on the running backs. Regardless, it didn't matter. Louisville still won.
Hopefully Louisville, with the return or season debut of Dominique Brown next week, hopefully maybe that'll solve some problems. Kind of helped Louisville when he started to really play a lot
Dominique
last
Brown
year.
Is yet to see in the field.
Yeah.
He may have saw a play or two at all last night.
No.
I thought I saw number 9 in there.
Nope. Number 9 is Devontae Parker.
That is
so you did see number 9.
That is correct. I always get them confused for some reason.
That's okay. But I mean, number 10, I believe, is Dominique Brown, and no, he has not played yet. Where he really came on strong last year was against Kentucky. I think he had over 90 yards rushing. Hopefully, he will emerge next week and solve some of the. Yeah, I may have kind of imagined it, but I saw some problems with Louisville's running game last night. One thing here, Arkansas was upset, we mentioned, by UL Monroe.
In overtime. Guy took a 4th and 1 scramble for 16 yards.
Wow.
For the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, I saw that. That was ridiculous. Old former card coach, Kelly, old John L. Smith, having a rough week, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean, we go from one former Louisville area talk show host, Will Wolford, to another former Louisville area talk show host, John L. Smith. And it brings me to a point that I was talking about on the break is, the feeling when you buy a nice polo shirt maybe, and you're real excited about it.
In your case, a cute V-neck.
A cute V-neck maybe.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I got a good deal on this. I'm loving the shirt. Maybe I paid $20 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next couple weeks later, I see the exact same shirt on sale for $6. You know how that's a bad feeling?
It's a bad feeling.
You've kind of lost some money. You feel like it just makes you feel bad. Imagine if you were John L. Smith. John L. Smith filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy this past week. It says that he has assets of between $1 million and $10 million and debts of between $10 million and $50 million.
That is
boy. John L.
So he's not exactly doing good personally, financially right now. Although he's still employed, he's got his very high
$800,000 contract, if I'm correct.
Yeah, very very highly rated, big job with Arkansas. He's the head coach of a big SEC football program that's very competitive. But they lose to UL Monroe last night.
Paid him about $300,000.
A team that they paid $300,000 to play. So, I mean, imagine if my scenario, where I feel like I lost $14, it makes me feel sick to my stomach when something like that happens to me. Imagine if you were John L. Smith. What do you guys think? Does that sound like fun? Would you like that?
I don't think, yeah. Well, if I had the money to file for that much bankruptcy in the first place, I'd be kind of happy regardless just because I knew I had that type of money.
You'd be happy to file bankruptcy.
I mean, he's going to get it back, so they always seem to get it back. When we looked at the Dodgers, they just filed for bankruptcy, and they might win the World Series.
They're also under new ownership.
I don't care. No, I don't care at all about his John L. Smith's money issue either. So
he's got to feel not that great financially this morning.
It's tough in the streets. I don't care. I'm feeling way tougher on the financial end than John L. right now, even if he filed for bankruptcy. He's got an overseas account somewhere probably with a couple mil in it just sitting
I agree
on
with
reserve.
you. He's doing all right, and as long as he gets to keep his job, I'd imagine he at least lands some coordinator position after the season, because obviously he's not going to continue to be the head coach at Arkansas right?
No, he won't be the head coach. They're pretty sure this is just an interim deal, especially when you're losing to Louisiana Monroe.
Well, you got to remember Kentucky almost lost to Louisiana Monroe.
In Alabama,
Kentucky, and they're Arkansas, the 8th-ranked team in the nation. There's a big difference there. There's a big difference there. At your home field, right? Or was it at Louisiana Monroe?
This was in...
They wouldn't pay $300,000 to go to Louisiana Monroe, would they?
No, I think this was in Arkansas.
Regardless, you lost to Louisiana Monroe. Another upset out there was UCLA taking down number 16 Nebraska. UCLA coming in strong this year, 2-0, early taking down the top 25 team, 36-30, Kelly. Congrats to the Big 12 getting a few wins out there.
Well,
but I wanted to ask you, though, the Big East, the guys that I thought it was Pac-12.
Or Pac-12, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's right.
I thought you said.
I wanted to ask you, Louisville.
Okay.
You're a Louisville guy. You're a Big East guy.
Big East is the best football conference out there.
Quickly, this is going to be quick. We're up against this break. Pittsburgh, Syracuse, UConn, struggling, leaving the conference. A lot of Louisville fans seem to kind of be saying they suck. But last year, the same teams, they didn't suck. Mm-hmm. What's the difference?
I'm not going to I refuse to be pigeonholed in with other Louisville fans. I don't pigeonhole me.
I like to put you on the pedestal.
Okay, you can group me in with the other fans. I don't think that I'm not going to jump on and say, Pittsburgh and they suck.
I'm not saying
we don't want them. I'm not saying that. We don't want them. Good. We didn't want you.
I've heard a lot of it. I know you're not.
I know you've heard it, and I believe Louisville fans have been saying it. If you feel that way, call in 502-384-1450. I'm a Louisville guy, and I wish those teams weren't leaving. If we're going to stay in the Big East, if we're going to end up in the Big 12,
you're okay with it.
Then yeah.
Let's get to the buzz line. We have 1 minute. Some guy you might know. We all know Brian the Insider.
Oh, got
what's
Brian
going on,
the
Brian?
On.
Hey guys, good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. Just wanted to chime in. First of all, I really enjoyed listening to Dave there. What a great voice on the radio and very knowledgeable on local sports. And what a great ad for the program there. But I want to tell you, I went to the Cardinal game yesterday. As you guys know, we live up in Ohio. My wife and I drove the 3 hours down. I'm a diehard Cardinal fan. Love the atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere for the game. Teddy Bridgewater looked fantastic. But I agree with Kelly that they need a power runner. Dominique Brown needs to get back in. There's too much dancing with the little scat backs they have, who are great, but they need a power running back. So Dominique Brown needs to come back. But I also agree very much with Tyler. I listened to the Kentucky game last night, and Smith is really developing as a great quarterback for Kentucky. I saw it against Louisville last week, very accurate. And my wife's a big Kentucky fan. We're going to the Kentucky Western game next Saturday. Going to check him out in person. But a lot to be happy for Kentucky fans on both sides of the aisle for the quarterbacks that are out there right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree on both. You know, that Max Smith's playing great. Louisville on the side of things, maybe you need that power back. Dominique Brown, sitting him out early. Nobody's really heard too much, Kelly, I don't think, of what is exactly going on with Dominique Brown.
He was in a boot. He's hurt. He's got I believe it's an ankle issue.
I saw something last week when I was at the game. It was something with knee wrap.
I don't really know, honestly. He's in a boot. You're right.
Something's
I don't know.
Going on.
Brian the Insider, do you know what the deal is with Dominique Brown? You're the insider.
Well, I heard. I think he was from. I belong to one of the premium stations now, Cardinal Authority, and from what they're saying on there is that it's just it's a tweak that they, I think, just wanting to get him better. And I did like seeing Corbin Lamb come in yesterday. I know it was just a 1 yard run against probably their second string, but he hit that hole very quick, and he looked very good. And Gaines as a wideout. Wow, did he that ball? Teddy did throw a good ball, but quite frankly, it was underthrown. And if he had that ball out in front of him, that was a touchdown. I think Teddy. Very seldom do you see Teddy not get someone on the wideout, but Gaines has got so much speed. And one other thing I'll say about Teddy, I was shocked he overthrew Devontae Parker on another play where Devontae was wide open, and I didn't think you could throw too far for Devontae Parker, but Teddy did. His arm is big. He looked great. I was very impressed with the spiral and the velocity on Teddy's throws. I mean, he really looked good, and I think the Cardinals really looked good. They didn't seem quite as in sync as they did against Kentucky, but they didn't have the big letdowns they did last year. I remember going to the Marshall game after a 3 hour drive from Ohio. That was very disappointing, but They did not throw that kind of performance out. Hey, real quick, I know my job is to tell you what's going on with horse racing. It's kind of a little lull period in horse racing. Saratoga and Del Mar, the two boutique meets of the summer, have just ended, and they were both very successful, both in wagering and in attendance. So those were good meets. And now Turfway's opening in Kentucky, and that'll go through the end of September. And then the very prestigious Keeneland meet will open. I know that's always exciting in Lexington when Keeneland opens, and I know I'm going to go to Keeneland on the 6th, and I believe they're playing Mississippi State, and that'll be a night game there, so that's always fun in Lexington when there's a Kentucky night game and Keeneland during the day. But that's what's going on with horse racing, guys. I know you got a lot going on. I just want to call in and say hello. I love listening to your program. We've got it on the iPhone app driving back to Ohio now, so it's great. I got it in my car, but really love listening to your program. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much, Brian, and we are against a break, so thank you very much. You have a good weekend, Brian, and we'll be right back with more after these messages.
If you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
We're here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick, Brad Steen's in the building today, KentuckySports.co, getting you through your Sunday morning. We're going to head straight to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line, maybe. Oh, well, he's on there, so talk to him. We're going to get to it in just a minute. If anybody wants to give us a shout, 384-1450, we will have a few moments in between our man Farrell and Tony Williams.
Yeah, our man Farrell's going to help everybody in the studio and everybody listening to win their first week of fantasy football. That's all he brings to the table.
There's a lot out there, guys. Obviously, today is the opening kickoff, traditional kickoff of the NFL season, first Sunday. Arian Foster, his issues with his knee. That's top three guy in fantasy people in every league. Trent Richardson will start. He's up there. That's good news for Browns fans. Will Arian Foster play? Isaac Redmond will start. Obviously, Kelly, you mentioned Mashard Mendenhall, and Brad, you mentioned Mashard Mendenhall and one of the breaks. Isaac Redmond will start for Pittsburgh. Brad, you have Marshawn Lynch, I believe. He is expected to play as of this morning.
Well, that's good news for me.
That's good news for you. Jonathan Stewart is out versus the Bucks for Panthers fans. So if you had a MJD, it would have been nice.
You mean D'Angelo Williams?
D'Angelo Williams. If you had D'Angelo Williams, there you go.
That really ups his stock. You're right.
Really ups his stock.
And they also have that other guy they got from the Chargers. The Panthers picked Tolbert.
Mike Tolbert.
So that also increases
goal line.
This is scientific analysis right here. This is what you tune in for.
It is.
For me to go, what's Tolbert? Tolbert's got a little...
Who's that guy?
Tolbert, he does. He must have a little... If you got Tolbert on your bench, you need to maybe fill in a flex spot. Mm-hmm. He's got a little increased value this week, I think. Maybe we'll ask Farrell about that.
We are going to jump right to it because Farrell is on the line. Live from Las Vegas, the Big Freeze himself. Farrell Elliott, what's going on?
Oh, my face is masked in shame, fellas, as I saw you searching for the San Diego running back now in Carolina.
Hey.
But no, guys, it's really great. It's so good to talk to you. Are you excited about your first KFFSC kickoff?
Oh, I don't think any of us could be more excited. The season's finally here for all fantasy football, but the KFFSC League, that's where it's at. And that's what we're excited about, obviously. My poop is Ronnie and Brown. Kelly is Kelly Patrick. Brad is Prestige Worldwide. Sorry about my team name. I had to do it. We're excited, Farrell.
Well, I've seen some team names out here in Las Vegas that I cannot repeat on the air. So
I'm sure.
Is very mild.
So you are out in Vegas. Is it the high-stakes fantasy football world championship? What's going on?
Fantasy Football World Championship, I drafted, I think I remember drafting 3 teams. At the FFPC draft, here at the Rio, I drafted 3 or 4 teams. I don't know. I got off the plane Wednesday. We started drafting Thursday, and it has been a wonderful time and a whole lot of fun, guys. I hope you guys will be finishing in the top 5, where you can move the 1450 show to Las Vegas for that weekend and come out here and play in Las Vegas as one of our league prizes this coming year. We had a lot of guys from Kentucky out here. It's been a wonderful reunion with fantasy players all over the country. And now the fun really starts. We get to look at our matchups, manage our teams, and enjoy watching NFL football with a high-stakes fantasy flavor.
And, of course, and before we do get into a little more, this segment is always brought to you by Jamie Cox of Keller Williams Louisville East for a winning strategy when you buy or sell a home. Allow Jamie Cox of Keller Williams Louisville East putting together a winning game plan for you with interest rates near an all-time low. There has never been a better time to buy or upgrade. For personal attention, effective marketing, results, contact Jamie Cox at 502-593-5454 or email him directly at jamie@thederbycityrealtor.com. We appreciate Jamie Cox for being one of the sponsors, helping us get into KFFSC Farrell. We met Jamie a couple weekends ago. He's a great guy. I'm going to have to knock him out of the playoffs, though, when it comes down to it. I'm sorry, Jamie. But, Farrell.
That's true.
Today is the day. I know you're a big-time fantasy man, big-time football guy. Arian Foster is my number one. I want to start out with him. Should they be worried?
Well, I suppose they should. They've got to sit on their edge of the seats until they can get all their information and decide if they're going to play their handcuff Ben Tate. If they didn't handcuff him with Ben Tate, they're scrambling. They'll move a running back 3 up to running back 1. How many of you guys have Foster?
Not me.
None of us.
Well,
I do
good.
believe.
We don't have to personally worry about it. But the listeners are, if they're seeking knowledge from us on the way to do that, they're at the wrong place because they're going to have to basically stay. I would send them to RotoWire, and they basically lean on that until they get their game time decision. Has he been ruled out yet?
He has not. They are saying they expect him to play, or he may be saying that. I guess it's kind of up in the air. I did see that Seattle's Marshawn Lynch is expected to play. He does impact Brad's team. Brad does have Marshawn Lynch, and he was trying to wonder if he should start Marshawn.
Well, Brad, do you have Robert Turbin as your backup?
That I do not. I do have, just as an emergency running back, Ronnie Brown.
Oh, well, there you go. You have just hit. There's probably in this town, there's probably a slot machine going off somewhere making a lot of noise, but you just hit the slot machine at the 1450 station because that's the running back you should put in the lineup. You should put Ronnie Brown in the lineup, and if the uncertainty of the Marshawn Lynch situation, you can take him down. You can live with Ronnie Brown this week in a matchup against a Raiders defense that allowed 5.1 yards a carry last year, and many people expect them to not be much better this year. Ronnie Brown given basically a real endorsement by his coach Norv Turner, referred to as a special player. Fresh legs on the 30-year-old running back, Ronnie Brown. There's your guy to go with, buddy. You are golden.
Just put him in the lineup.
That's exactly.
Yes,
I'm looking at my starters right now, Farrell. I actually have Ronnie Brown starting. I couldn't name my team not after Ronnie, so I went with him. Kelly, I think Kelly had a little question for you.
I think I've actually he clarified a couple things for me. I'm not really. Fortunately, I don't have any too tough of decisions in any of the 3 leagues that I'm in, including the KFFSC league. So,
Kelly, sometimes that can mean that you just don't have enough good players. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Now, why don't you have a tough decision?
I don't know. I just it's pretty clear cut with each of my teams. You know, I could go over them. Yeah. Trust me, I'm concerned only about me winning in my 3 leagues this week. If I had one, I would happily share it with all of our listeners and get to the bottom of it. I just happen to, I don't. It's pretty clear cut. If I were to switch it up a little, it'd be stupid.
That's great. A guy that slept well on Saturday night with no nightmares of his fantasy team. That's a great situation to start the year.
We'll see if it's a great because he had multiple drinks and he happened to just black out. Yeah, but Farrell, you said you're out in Vegas. Talk about that a little bit. The experience. Obviously, none of us have been there. A lot of us out here that enjoy the basement leagues, as we call it, around our area. don't know much about that, I mean, it's got to be one hell of a week or weekend.
It is, guys. It's just like the feeling of what we brought to the Horseshoe for our draft. Now, what we have, of course, Las Vegas pulls from all over the country, and it's a great magnet to bring people in to play fantasy football. But the FFPC had over 1,000 live teams, and that's the league that we're associated with our bids. The FFWC, who we work with at the station and sponsors a lot of our activities, this was their first year, and they didn't have as big a game, but they had a terrific game, wonderful sponsorships, which is something that the leagues are going to. You know, here in Kentucky, we have our wonderful Jamie Cox, and we've got the Franklin Tax Service, and these are wonderful local sponsors. The FFWC stepped it up just a little bit. They're hitting home runs a little longer than ours. They have the Fiat Motor Company coming in and sponsoring the event. They also have Ponder Gaming that is throwing a party for us across the street at the Palms Casino, a viewing party where they've essentially shut down the Palms Sportsbook and turned it over to fantasy football. And it's the guys that play in these events are throwing quite a party. So this is a great way to start the year as a fantasy player, and just about everyone will be picking up, headed to the airport at the conclusion of tonight's games. And like I say, we've got 16 weeks of excitement as we run towards the championship.
Yeah, for sure. We need to attempt to get out there in the next coming years. It sounds like an extra time. I've never been to Vegas, so it'll be an all-around trip for me.
I knew you guys were busy, so that's why I brought this experience to Kentucky. And
exactly.
We run in. A lot of people, especially from around the country, have come up to me and said, you know, we love coming out here, and obviously we always will. Well, we're going to add Kentucky. And I had a guy come up. He says, I'm coming to Kentucky next year. I said, where are you from? He said, Maine. Huh. I said, makes perfect sense to me. You should come on. So we're getting, you know, the whole thing about fantasy football is it's competition, and people want to come to where the best players are. And the word is that we've always known that to be Las Vegas, and now we know that is Kentucky as well.
Farrell, I do have one question I just came across, was looking over my KFF SC lineup. As of right now, I'm going with Phillip Rivers as my starting quarterback. But I also have Peyton Manning.
Wow.
What should I do?
Well, you know, I think in this game, I really think you should roll with Phillip Rivers. You've got a great quarterback by committee situations. Those two guys in previous years would have been listed as stud quarterbacks in every week start. Now you've got two very recent stud quarterbacks that you can move in and out of your lineup. Would you rather have those guys or the guys I have, Matt Schaub and Eli Manning? And I'd say you'd rather have your guys. Phillip Rivers gets Oakland on Monday night. Oakland is, as we talked about them before, I'm a little higher on them than most people, but it's still coming out of the gate. Phillip Rivers with Ronnie Brown is as good as I expect Ronnie Brown to be. He's not necessarily Ryan Matthews, so Phillip Rivers is going to be looking for his number one target, Antonio Gates. A lot of great receptions between those two, a lot of great chemistry between those two. My vibe immediately is to say, let's go for Rivers, and let's let Eli work a little bit of the rust off, or let Peyton work a little bit of the rust off.
Yeah, that was kind of my first inclination. Normally when you have a quarterback who's going against a guy like, I think Nnamdi Asomugha is still with Oakland, right?
Yes.
That would create some concern, but I guess he's got Antonio Gates. Maybe Nnamdi will shut down Bob Meacham. I'm fine with that. He's got Antonio Gates.
Well, it's 11 on 11, and no one player is going to make that big a difference, but Antonio Gates is a true force on that offense. And you said something very important there. A fantasy player should do that in many, many times, is follow their first instincts, especially when you've done it for a lot of years. That first feel that you get, that's usually the guy you should go with.
Yeah, that's usually the way I draft all my leagues, just whatever I feel good about. Farrell Elliott, KFFSC league. Before I do let you go, Farrell, you said you drafted a few teams. You may not remember who you drafted. You like to critique our team. Well, it's our time to critique your team. Who did you draft maybe in your first round or two?
I do remember some of the guys. You know, I say never go quarterback early. And yesterday, all the great running backs came off the board in a draft I was in. I went Ray Rice as my first pick.
A+.
Yeah. Can't get much better than that. But he was still there when he came back around. I've never had him as a player on my fantasy team, so I shouted out Drew Brees. A couple of receivers that I wanted went by, but Wes Welker was still there in the third round.
Oh, no.
So Wes Welker.
I had a basis. There's your bust, Farrell.
Team.
There's your bust right there.
No,
well, even if Wes is a bust, if he's half of what he was last year, it still puts him in front of a number of other players.
I'm totally joking with you. I hope he's not a bust because I got Tom.
The guys, the situation is when we're in when we're in Kentucky and when we're in the season a little earlier, some of the players that you really were finding gems in the middle rounds are now going in the 5th and 6th round. It makes you begin to wonder, where have all the players gone? And it's a situation of the players get separated, and it gets a little clearer to draft out here sometimes. And I got to tell you, I was playing with pretty rough ones in my division, and so I had to grab what I could grab. But that's the most unusual team and the team I've never had. Usually, like I say, I go late on quarterbacks. I ended up in a situation out here where I took Jimmy Graham, which at tight end, that's a little early for me, so I was chasing other running backs, and they're disappearing from the board quickly. And you just have to play those guys. I've got one team. If you guys had come up to me in July and said, Farrell, you're going to have a fantasy team that has Benson, Ronnie Brown, and Willis McGahee on it, I would tell you you're absolutely crazy. But I certainly can't tell you that today because I got one of those teams.
That's great. Farrell, we appreciate you waking up early out in Vegas and taking a few minutes, as always, to talk with us. As we talk to you next Sunday, it'll be week 2. We'll get to talk about my week 1 domination and see how the KFFC starts to pan out.
I'm expecting you guys to be 3-0 when we get together next Sunday. Thanks for having me on, fellas, and have a great day watching the games.
You too, Farrell.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, it is good stuff as always. Who doesn't like talking to Farrell? You can just talk to Farrell about anything. He is out in Vegas. He is still in bed, I'm sure. He's late night, early morning for our man Farrell. Brad, Prestige Worldwide.
What about
Prestige Worldwide? Are you excited? Do you see this team being a winning type team?
I see this team to hold their own against the best of the best, because that is why we are in the KFFSC.
It's true. 200-plus teams.
But I think my team can hold their own against some of the players. I think
you went Calvin Johnson early, didn't you?
I did go Calvin Johnson early. I went I don't even remember.
You got Matt Stafford as well as I do.
I actually do not have Matt
Oh,
Stafford.
not in the KFFSC?
Not in the KFFSC, but I do. I wish I could pull my team up. I just exited out of them.
But, there's a lot for everybody's got. Like I said, I've got 3 teams.
I take that back. I do have Matt Stafford
in that league. So you got the Stafford to Calvin Johnson combo.
Yeah.
I've got that in one of my leagues. So should be, interesting to see how that pans out. That seems like definitely the number 1 combo in the league this year, I believe.
We're up against a break. We need to go to this break
real
quick. Yeah, we need because we're going to get Tony Williams on, KentuckySports.co. We'll be right back to the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying, yeah. Partying.
This is the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. We've got a good guest on the line with us, Tony Williams. Before we get to Tony, I wanted to let you know that this segment is brought to you by Franklin Taxes and Accounting. Franklin Taxes and Accounting Services residents and business owners nationwide. We offer financial planning, tax preparation services, estate planning, LLC and corporation setup, and forensic auditing. We can help any corporation or small business with payroll, monthly financials, bookkeeping, and much more. We are located in southern Indiana at 611 Watt Street, Jeffersonville. Contact our friendly and dedicated CPA, Marcy Franklin, who has over 15 years of experience at 502-424-1179, or check out our website, franklintaxes.com, for further information. We are committed to providing expert advice and meeting every client's individual needs.
Good job.
Thanks, man. I nailed that. I mean, Marcy, we had her when we did the draft. Marcy sat in with us. She's a KFFSC participant. Very nice lady. I think we met her and her sister, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a fun. They were both in the league.
I forget her sister's first name at the moment, but they're both in the league. Good people, right here in Jeffersonville. So good stuff there. We do have on the line with us Tony Williams. How you doing this morning, Tony?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. I know that I spoke with my man John Hancock. I think he said that he may have seen you yesterday at the game. Did you get to watch the entire game yesterday?
Yeah, between watching the game and just kind of tweeting out the highlights of the game, you know, you got to put your head down to do that. But I caught most of the game, and we were in cruise control after the first half, so it was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I was out there last week with you, Tony. We enjoyed the Governor's Cup together, got to sit down, talk a little bit about our website, your website, KardinalSportsZone.com, right?
Yeah, KardinalSportsZone.com.
I've got it up right now. Looks like you've got some good stuff up there. We've got some picture galleries from the weekend, last weekend as well. Let the listeners know a little bit about KardinalSportsZone.com.
Well, KardinalSportsZone.com is a team, a group of six individuals, because we do have a female, sorry, Paige, but 6 individuals, 4 being senior members, and Paige and Bradley being an intern. You can find us all on Twitter, at Swims, at Stiz502, at JRville25, at Jeremy Wyman55. And what we do basically is we just put the social media on full blast. You know, we find that Cardinals athletics is coming around to full circle, and that all the sports are emerging. So rather than cover just basketball, just football, we just try to keep some type of tab on what's going on with the whole of Cardinal athletics.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You always have up-to-date Louisville stuffs on there. So if you're listening, KardinalSportsZone.com. Tony Williams and his crew are doing good things. You were at the game yesterday, Tony. A little bit, obviously, we were talking earlier. Teddy Bridgewater's for the second straight week looked very well. What are your thoughts of the team in general? Kelly maybe had some concerns with the running game yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, your team is only going to be as good as your leader, and I just feel that Coach Strong, in every category, he pays a certain amount of attention to it, and he expects excellence out of his guys. And in turn, his guys try to produce excellence, and even when they don't reach, I'm sure they wanted to play better yesterday, but when they don't reach excellence, we still survive with a win, 35-7. So I'm just proud of the job that the team as a whole is doing. Just the look of the organization, the fact that we're a college and those kids look like a small pro team out there, just with their attitudes and the way that they're all disciplined.
Once again, we do have Tony Williams on the line with us. Tony, obviously a former Dawes High School basketball standout, went on to play for head coach Denny Crum. My memory was just a great shooter, a big scorer, left-handed guy. 6'8", Tony.
6'8", yeah.
Had a great career toward the end of Denny's tenure, certainly. So I'm checking out the site here, KardinalSportsZone.com. Got a lot of good stuff on there, some good photo galleries, and kind of covering recruiting, all sorts of different stuff there. You brought up his basketball career. Tony, if I'm correct, you spoke with John yesterday. You got to practice with the basketball team recently?
No, you mean UofL's basketball team?
Yes. Did he misunderstand?
Yeah, maybe. No, I haven't practiced with the team. I just go in every blue moon and I check them out. And during the season, of course, much more. And I try to just keep an ear out and see what's going on, what the pulse is with the team.
Well, I mean, obviously you're a former player, and people love talking basketball. We are only 30 days away from the tip-off, so obviously we are in the heat of football season. But
right.
Stuff's starting to come out for basketball. Peyton Siva and Athlon Sports putting him number one, putting Peyton Siva, All-American and whatnot. What are your thoughts of this upcoming season for the Cardinals basketball program? Obviously, the football program's doing great. Basketball just came off the Final Four. Could this be another Final Four run type caliber team?
I mean, again, it goes back to why we, decided to put together the social media, KentuckySports.co. The team, all of the sports are rolling right now. Basketball is no exception. The recruits, the new guys that we have coming in, Peyton Siva coming into senior year, with all these high expectations, and growing into the leader that he's become. Russ Smith ready to, tear somebody's head off out there. Got Wayne Blackshear and Kevin Ware, who we're waiting to see great things out of. Shane, a.k.a. Beast Mode, Bohannon. We have so much to look forward to. I think the main thing is the same, with the football is that same discipline, that same, you gotta take whatever Coach Pitino gives you as a player, and you gotta use that and make it turn it into gold. Because definitely the talent is on the team. Everybody expects us to do great things, so I just expect a great year all around. Football right into basketball. Just Final Four is definitely in the Cardinals' goals.
Now you mentioned obviously Pitino. You have Charlie Strong on the football end of the things for coaching. Those two guys, similar type coaching, theories. They're strict on their players. They're not light. Am I kind of going down the right path as two types of the same coaches in a way?
I mean, definitely in a way. I mean, it's obviously two different sports, but you're right. The discipline, the fact that they can go and get the best players, and make them into make that into a winning team, turn that into a winning season, and just a resume overall. What Coach Strong is building, and then what Coach Pitino, already has and is building on, continuing with last year in the Final Four. We just, like I said, we just got so much to look forward to.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Even as a Kentucky fan, Louisville, you are kind of rolling in the right direction. I know Kelly is gloating every day about how the football team is going. Tony, appreciate you taking a few minutes. You're going to be at the game this Saturday for North Carolina?
I might watch this one on It's on ESPN, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I might watch this one on ESPN. I think got some other members of my team who want to get out there and get some face time out there. So I think I'm going to take the back seat. Maybe I'll write a story or something on it the next day or something like that, or help with the photo gallery on the website.
There you go, and taking it easy on the couch, watching some football. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, because honestly, you don't get to enjoy the game as much, when you're covering the game. And, I come in as a fan first. When I was back in school, even back in high school, when former Cardinal LaVelle Boyd was on my high school football team, I'd go and I'd support those guys. I'd watch games and almost as if I was out there or a part of the team. So I'm still no different with my team. And this week against North Carolina, I guess I'll get to sit at home and watch it and rewind it on DVR and just do all those things as a fan,
Fist pump, scream, jump up and down like we couldn't do last weekend. I know we both were holding it back.
Exactly.
Tony, you looking forward to the first full day of NFL games today?
I'm loving this college thing. I love the NFL too, but I'm loving this college thing. I'm sitting here looking over the play-by-play summaries from the first quarter of the game against Missouri State, and I just can't get enough of it. I don't know. I'm just loving my Cards right now.
You're a Louisville guy, Cardinal through and through. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I guess that's great.
It is great.
It's great for it is really is. Well, Tony, KentuckySports.co. We appreciate you just coming in, hopping in, a last second thing, taking a few minutes. I'm sure I'll see you out there at the Louisville game in the next couple weeks.
Yes, sir. It's our pleasure, man.
All right, Tony. Have a good one. Tony Williams, KentuckySports.co. We got a few minutes, Brad, in this next couple minutes. 384-1450. We are presented by livingforless.org and Smart Shoppers. Check livingforless.org out. Great half-off deals around the city. Roosters, golf outings out there. Just check it out, livingforless.org. Also coming up with the Oxmoor Ford, our packages keep going, keep rolling. September 2nd week, or September 9th week, sorry, that would be this week. Oxmoor Ford Service is taking confidence in their work to a new level with a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on all customer-paid service work. Now that's assurance you can't find elsewhere. Oxmoor Ford, get out there and tell them you heard it on 1450 Sports Buzz, the weekend Sports Buzz. They'll give you a high five, hook you up. Brad, I know you wanted to mention some Reds talk. Let's do that before this last segment, and then we'll try to get back locally for next week. Reds still sitting in first place?
Yes, they are. Still, they're 9.5 games up right now on the Cardinals. Yeah, exactly.
We're all Reds fans.
The magic number is reducing rapidly every day. It's now down to 15 games. A couple interesting things that I want to point out. This is from Lindsey Patterson up in ESPN 1530. She messaged out, Jay Bruce hit his 33rd home run of the season last night.
Yep.
So Bruce in 2008 had 21 home runs as a rookie, 22 in 2009, 25 in 2010, and 32 last season. He's the first player in Major League history to hit 20 home runs as a rookie and improve on that total the next 4 seasons.
Wow.
So I know that I've been...
So what you're telling me is he's going to pass Hank Aaron, Mark McGwire. I can't even get his name
Albert
out.
Pujols.
No. Barry Bonds.
For the all-time record.
Bobby Bonilla.
Barry
I
Bonds.
thought you were going with Albert Pujols because he has a heck of a
the streak.
10-year or whatever it was to start his career.
I know what you're talking about.
But you're talking about the all-time
The
home run record.
home run record. Is that what you're getting to, Brad?
I wish I could confirm that, but I've been very critical of Jay Bruce because he hasn't been consistent.
Mm-hmm.
There's months where he looks just like the best player in Major League Baseball, but then there's sometimes before you start dancing, Kelly, that it looks like he is the worst player in baseball.
You shut your mouth.
I'm just speaking my opinion.
I know.
He is a one of a kind. I don't remember anyone being as hot or cold as him ever. But at the end of the day, use the old look at the back of his baseball card. This season, he's batting .266. He's got 33 home runs, 95 RBIs. He's the Reds' MVP.
And soon to be, hopefully,
I
center
wouldn't say
fielder.
that. Not the MVP.
Oh, you can say
Not
that.
the MVP.
You don't think he's the Reds' MVP?
Jay Bruce?
We got 2 different issues going on, guys. Let's back up.
Jay Bruce?
Who's the Reds' MVP then?
Ryan Ludwig, maybe? Maybe even Todd Frazier?
I'm just saying,
Todd Frazier would be. He should win Rookie of the Year.
He's had a down 10 games.
He has.
Which it happens. It's baseball.
And the thing is Bryce Harper is starting to warm up a little bit, but that does not hide the fact.
Nationals, Brad, done. They're done. Right? They're done.
I wouldn't say
bye. What's his name's been shut down?
Strasburg.
Strasburg is shut down for good.
But they've also won. They've also won about 60% of the games in games where he doesn't pitch.
I don't care, Brad.
I'm just saying.
When you going into the playoffs knowing your stud's not there to anchor your rotation of 3 deep, 4 deep, depending on who you are, that's a lot of momo. Think about if you were on that team, Brad. You're, let's say, give me a good name here. I'm trying to think of somebody you remind me of. Outfield. You're not.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play outfield.
Not a Ty Wigginton. You're somebody on Nationals.
You're
playing your ass off. You have a chance. You're going to make the playoffs. Obviously, you have a chance to go to World Series. You're one of the best teams in baseball. Then your coaching staff comes out and says, "Sorry, guys, we're taking you out today. We're taking our best player out for the playoffs."
I don't think it was more. I mean, yeah, the coaches did have a say in it. I think what people don't realize is his agent. And more, I don't care.
I'm not talking about just saying. I'm talking about you as a player for the Nationals.
How would I feel?
How would you feel knowing, God, I want a World Series?
I would
Kelly, I want a World Series.
I would be irate.
I would
be
very happy.
If I were,
I would be very unhappy as well.
If I were an owner of another team or a general manager of another team, I would refuse. I'd be very happy, but I'd refuse to work with who is it? Boris?
Scott Boris.
Yeah. I mean, you want the best players, so you don't really have an option, I guess, if you want the best players. But I mean, That guy is bad for the sport.
He really is. I'm with you. He's been around. Everybody knows he's a scumbag. If anybody's a scumbag, it's Boris.
Not to keep flip-flopping on topics here, but I'll go back to my Jay Bruce argument. He has played in 134 games.
Right.
That's the most at anyone on the team. Okay. He leads the team in RBIs, home runs. He bats .266. You said Ludwig. Ludwig does back .274. Ludwig has played in 112 games compared to Jay Bruce's 134. So, I mean,
their stats are comparable.
Their stats are comparable. Jay Bruce has done more for the Reds this season than any other player.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is Bruce has been there, Brad, right? Bruce has been here. He's been a little bat. He's been in the program, the farm franchise for years. We brought Ryan Ludwig in.
Yeah.
And he has stepped into year one.
Ludwig has been an amazing, pleasant surprise.
What about Joey Votto?
Would he win MVP this year for the Reds?
He's still the MVP.
He's our best player.
I think he's the best player on this team, but I think that time off, the 2 months that he's had off, there's no way he could win the MVP this
Call
year.
me crazy up against this break. We'll get to it in 1 second. Aroldis Chapman, not MVP of baseball of the Reds. Even if he doesn't win an award outside of the Reds, could he be the Reds MVP?
You can make a very strong case for that. But before we get to this break, I do want to read the lineup off because there's something interesting in there. Phillips is leading off. Didi Gregorius is batting second, playing shortstop.
Because Cozart's out for a week or so.
Yeah, Votto, Bruce, Frazier. Xavier Paul is in left field today.
I like it.
The biggest thing that I circled around here is Drew Stubbs is batting seventh, playing center field. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I keep I keep the Drew Stubbs strikeout quota tally. So
and he leads baseball.
Stubbs,
Again.
I've stood up for as long as I can with Drew Stubbs, but he continually gets. If you look at his stats, they've gotten worse every single year.
I think the coaching staff and Dusty knows that. But like Kelly, I'll take Kelly's side on this, even though Jay Bruce can play center if needed.
You guys know this.
But
yes,
he
doesn't.
Yes.
But you guys do.
We do know this.
But
interesting.
Drew Stubbs is obviously the better defender by a long shot, which I'm with you on that as well.
Long shot.
By a long shot. Yep. I know that because he runs like a deer.
He's a freak athlete.
I know that. I wouldn't call him a freak athlete. I call him super fast. He might be awful at every other sport. You don't know that. Regardless, he's super fast and he can play defense, and that's But when you can't hit the ball, what about Xavier Paul? Neither of us talked about Xavier Paul. Xavier Paul came in from the Pirates and done great things off the bench. Yes, maybe he's not an everyday player. What about Xavier Paul in the future? He's fast. He can play center field.
I think he's about 26, 27 years old.
Very young.
I think he's more of a serviceable guy off the bench.
I like him off the bench, as I do Cairo. Let's get to this last break so we can come back and argue some more about the Reds. 384-1450. We'll be right back.
Sports Buzz. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to Weekend Sports Buzz here for your final segment, 1450 AM. Check us out on 1450thesportsbuzz.com, KentuckySports.co. Great Louisville, Kentucky news up to date. Player interviews, coaching, press conferences, videos. It's great. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Quickly, though, before we wrap the show, I do want to get out to birthdays because my favorite actor of all time, Adam Sandler, turned 45. He is definitely, what are you laughing at, Brad?
No, I was just thinking I'd watched 2 of his movies over this week.
Him and Kevin James got into a little charity tennis match over the weekend for the U.S. Open, and Kevin James jumped. Did you see him jump? Missed the ball. Ball hit him in the face. He smacked it face first into the wall. It was classic. Check it out. It was not top 10. Larry Bird the product of right up the road, Indiana, began his free throw streak, Kelly, of 59. Me and you have had a lot of discussions about great shooters of free throws.
We have.
Well, that's a hell of a shooter and a free throw shooter, so we can't
Which
even
are
talk
two
about
completely separate issues, in your opinion.
Two completely separate issues, yes. That's a summer show because we could go for 2 hours talking about that. Really, really could. I know we ended up with the Reds. Let's just get right into it a little bit. Kelly, Louisville, this weekend, 3:30 p.m., right here again at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. I'll be there with Mark Blankenbaker. We're doing a pregame show outside at the stadium, 2801 Floyd Street. Nick Coffey, the Card Connects, follows us. Follow Nick as those weekend golf guys who are about to come on. They're joining in 1450, the Sports Buzz crew. Why? Because of winners. Kelly, UNC Louisville. A little bit about this game.
I'm looking forward from a Louisville perspective. They got to get the running game, in my opinion, going. I know that I expressed my concern about that earlier, and I'm hoping that the return or the season debut of Dominique Brown will kind of, cure the running woes, which statistically are not really is not a problem.
You got a good problem, in my opinion, at running back. You got some talented, fast backs.
So does Kentucky.
We'll get to you in a minute, Brad.
Oh, excuse me.
No, but really, Corbin Lamb, he's very talented freshman. You got Senor Perry.
Who looks really good. He does. They struggled when they were running it to the left side of the line last night, though. I mean, it was...
Maybe the weak spot?
I feel it is, which is not a good thing.
So are you saying that if Louisville comes in and, can run the ball a little bit, obviously their pass game is very, very well right now with Teddy completing almost everything, they're going to come in and win against North Carolina?
I'd like to say that it'll be a close game and Louisville will pull it out. I'll say Louisville win by 2.
2 points?
Yeah.
Safety.
Sure.
Speaking of safeties.
So, you aren't on until next Sunday. Louisville, just less than a touchdown field goal game? Is that what you're saying?
I'll say Louisville's going to win.
I don't need a score. I just
19-21.
19-20. Wow. I've just watched North Carolina. I think Louisville's going to put up 28, 31 points, hold North Carolina to 17.
Yeah.
I think Louisville's going to handle it.
It makes me more nervous that North Carolina lost yesterday.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
I'll say Louisville by 14. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. I was going to go to you on that. Yeah, Brad, 14. You're right on the same realm as me, maybe 14, 17 points. I watched them a little bit. I think Louisville's a better team.
I think if Louisville establishes the running game, they have a great defense, and they'll have a good defense. It's going to get better.
Defense always gets better,
much like Kentucky.
Yes,
but Louisville does have a great running game. They also have good wide receivers to back it up as well.
Kentucky. They're coming in this week, hosting Western Kentucky, another rivalry game. The Hilltoppers, who played a well game against Alabama. They're a talented little squad. They got some guys who formerly committed to Louisville, formerly committed to Kentucky, all going there. Kentucky, they're not coming in this game lightly, right? It's going to be a game.
No, this is a game, and this happens every year when you play a team like a Western or an Eastern. These are the guys that weren't recruited by UK, weren't recruited by Louisville. So they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. The question is how well is Kentucky going to respond? Because in the first quarter, Western's going to come out just running straight adrenaline. They're going to be amped, ready to roll, ready to avenge that loss from last season, which, in my opinion, Kentucky had no right winning that game.
That was just a bad setup.
It was a bad setup. It was a bad game in general. I'm not sure. Is Koshi Williams going to be back next week?
He's gained games, maybe. Josh Clemens might be back. Might be running back by committee. We don't know. We'll find out throughout the week.
Watching last night, Kentucky is very deep, in my opinion, in running back. They've got Raymond Sanders, who had 126 yards on 13 carries.
Jonathan George is sitting back
Jonathan George was there, 6 carries for 52 yards. They also have the new guy, Dyshawn Mobley.
Fast. Very fast.
They're set on the offensive side. The question is again, the defensive side. Can they stop Western's offense? I really haven't looked into Western's offense that much this year, but if I'm not mistaken, Rainey is still there.
I don't think Rainey is there. Rainey's gone. They have a couple good guys. Regardless, so Brad, what's Kentucky win or I'm assuming win by? What are you thinking?
I think Kentucky's going to struggle out of the gate, but I think Western will wear down, and I'm going to say Kentucky will pull away late and win by 27.
I'm kind of on your same standpoint. Kentucky air raid. Kelly, you
win by 27.
I didn't say 27. I'm saying on the same standpoint. I'm not. I think they'll win by 17.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah,
that's okay.
I
believe
I'm sorry,
you. I mean,
not good.
If you think about it, we posted that thing on Facebook about KentuckySports.co. Gave us your prediction. There was a guy on there that said we would lose by 10. Against Kent State, we ended up winning by 33 points. How is Kent State any better than Western?
Yeah,
wow.
They're a good MAC team. I think it's going to be on the 18-21 range, just kind of like Louisville over UNC.
Okay.
I just think it'll be that. Regardless, victories on both ends of the Bluegrass, moving Louisville 3-0. Kelly.
That'd be
going
great.
Into Florida International, which is obviously a payback game from last year.
Also, we're little Ricky now coaches the basketball
little
side.
Little Rick. We're up against the end of the show. It's been fun. I do want to say prayers go out to Tulane safety Devon Walker. He broke his neck on that hit yesterday in one of the games. I don't know if you all caught that.
Emergency tracheotomy.
Exactly.
Which is just
I
crazy.
hear he's in stable condition, so that's good for him. And I know Kelly likes odd stories. Kelly, check out the DeMatha High School football Catholic schools. They ordered prostitutes at 5 a.m. You might enjoy that story. Anyways, it's been a fun show. Next weekend, check us out outside of Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. We'll be doing our show live. And, of course, then that's 10 to 12. We're going to be moving that show to 10 to 12. Sunday, me and Kelly will be here again, 10 to 12. Talking a lot more Reds next week, I hope. Getting closer to the playoffs. It's been fun. Brad, thanks for stopping in. Kelly, glad you're back. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.